And looking at this one, it just seems like a giant waste of space. And as a vault dweller, we're limited on the room we have, so not a good look. What is up, my fellow Vault Dwellers? The end of Fallout Season 2 is well upon us, and what a better way to reflect on some of the tattoos we've seen in the Wasteland. So without further ado, let's check out the first tattoo. Alright, this first one is sent in by Michael Henderson. And Michael, you sent over this mini nuke that you just got less than 48 hours ago. And Michael, this tattoo is not bad by any means. There are some squiggles here and there, especially on that left-hand side. You see that line really isn't that well done. But I do really like the colors, even though they're not 100% saturated. And you can tell if you look over to the left-hand side of the bomb, there is a little bit of skin showing through. Or even underneath this line right here, just underneath the screw, again, you can kind of see some skin where there shouldn't be skin showing. I think the white highlight running through the middle of this bomb is kind of unnecessary. And if you want to make something look shiny, I would add white circles. But since this is a mini nuke in a dystopian wasteland, I don't think it would really be that shiny. There's also a couple little white highlights to the left and right of these little red squares that aren't really doing anything because there's nothing there. It is a pretty simple tattoo, not much to say about it. And like I said, it's not bad by any means. It's not great, but it's not bad. But I do appreciate your love for Fallout and your ode to one of the most powerful weapons in the game. Thank you so much, Michael, for sending that over. Now let's check out the next one. All right, this next one comes in from Alec Wilson. And Alec, you sent over this Vault Boy that was a tribute to your friend who passed away. And Alec, I love this tattoo. I think it's very cheeky. I love how it probably looks like your friend, who really didn't give a damn. He was obviously a Wastelander with a stacked charisma perk. Now, although I do really love this tattoo and how it was technically applied, but the hand does look a little off to me. It almost looks like it's backwards. And I'm not sure if it's because of the way that the pinky is sitting or if it meets the wrist, but something just feels off there. But I love the attention to detail, especially the little skull in the shirt and all the little buttons and the plugs. This guy's really got it all. I also love the little mushroom cloud in the background as well and how it's all one color palette. It's a super rad tribute and I'm sure your friend would be stoked. And I do think it's really clever how he's got his middle finger up rather than his thumb up like the original Vault Boy. This guy. Super cool tattoo, Alec. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. On to the next one. All right, these next two tattoos come in from Rob Robinson. Funny name. And Rob, the first tattoo you sent over is this Nuka-cola girl. A classic image. I've done this tattoo myself a handful of times, and it never really gets old. I appreciate the line weights that you used on this thing, especially around her belly and her bosom. It's a nice strong line weight, and then there are thinner line weights all in the middle. It just keeps it interesting. I do like the fact that you made the boots look like leather, but if we were to compare that with the original reference, I gotta say that I like the original reference quite a bit better. And not just the boots, the white suit as well. It feels more white in the reference. I also think this tattoo probably could have been turned just a little bit so her bottom and hand were almost parallel, like she's sitting down. Just where it sits right now, it just looks like she's leaning a bit too far forward, and it looks a bit unnatural. But you also sent over this other tattoo, so let's check that out now. And this one is hilarious. It's a Brotherhood of Steel riding a Nuka-cola quantum bottle in a very similar vein as the Nuka-cola chick. This one cracks me up. I love how the foot is almost angled backwards like she's really enjoying herself, or himself, it being the Brotherhood of Steel. But I do gotta say I like this tattoo a bit more. It's just funny and seems to be a bit more well executed. It also doesn't warp as much as the first one, and that's probably because it's on a thigh rather than a skinny little arm. Hey, I can say that. Have you seen these guns? But the line weights in this tattoo are exceptional. I love these big, bold, beefy line weights around that leg that's around the Nuka-cola quantum bottle, and the subtle little details in the power armor as well. I mean, this thing's got it all. It is a nice touch to have the vault cog in the back as well. It just fills up a little bit extra space. And yeah, again, I think you did a great job when it comes to the saturation and the quality of lines. Pretty cool tattoos, Rob. Thank you so much for sending those over. On to the next one. All right, this one comes in from Pinkett out of Perth, Australia. All right. Kangaroo, beans on toast, whatever y'all say. And Pinkett, you sent over this patch tattoo of a Vault Boy with a little Nuka-cola cap. Super cool idea. I do love the patch tattoos, and I love when other elements are thrown in there as well. Now I gotta say, although I do love the overall design of this, and the somewhat well-executed tattoo, I think it could have been done quite a bit better. I think the black stitching in some of these lines, like around the face or even in the cogwheel, a little bit of everywhere could have been a bit tighter. It just seems like the gap in the stitching is a bit loose. When I think of a patch, I think of nice, tight black stitching to make those bold black lines stand out. Like if you had a bolder, tighter black line on that back arm, it would really stand out against that cogwheel. Something I do with my patch tattoos personally are I like to do an entire pass with gray wash. That way when you put down the color, it already has that beveled effect without relying so much on the dark colors and light colors that you put in. I think having that gray wash in there first just makes the tattoo a bit stronger. But again, it's not bad. I like the direction that you have all these threads flowing in most of the tattoo. I think in the face it does get a little weird how it has this one area where it almost comes down to a sharp angle. I think had that gone all the way across perfectly parallel, it probably would have made it look a little cleaner. Yeah, all right. Now when it comes to the cap, I don't think you did a bad job. I think it could use some darker shading in those lighter reds away from the edge, make it look a little more worn without the use of those dots. Some nice blending would look great here. And also the drop shadow. You've got a little bit of drop shadow that's underneath the patch and cap, but I think you could have added another drop shadow on the patch from that cap. You still with me? I do think the K got away from you a little bit. It almost looks like a B. You just really got to take your time when it comes to those smaller details. An extra 15-20 minutes will really take this thing to the next level. But I do like how you went the extra mile when it comes to those openings that you have on the thread around the border. I just think you should slow down. Take my own advice. I just think you should slow down a little bit to really get those details in there nice and clean, and again, it would make this thing that much better. But thank you so much, Pink Cat, for sending that over. On to the next one. This one comes in from Suzanne Winterstein out of Germany, and Suzanne, you said you tattooed this one on your husband. And looking at this one, it just seems like a giant waste of space. And as a vault dweller, we're limited on the room we have, so not a good look. And what I mean by that is, I think there is a lot more that you could have done to this helmet rather than it be so big with the least amount of detail in the entire tattoo. I think there's more detail in this sticker than there is in this massive helmet. When you tattoo something this big with something so small next to it, I think it's probably wise to put a lot more of the detail in the bigger thing rather than the smaller thing. And luckily it is pretty light, so I think there is still time to go back into that helmet and add all these little subtle nuances and details. Because my eyes want to go to the sticker at the bottom and that little Nuka-cola on top of the car rather than this massive helmet on the arm. So I think the focus of our design is a little backwards. The whole thing is a bit odd if I'm being honest. You have this fully rendered colored sticker at the bottom, and then we have these odd looking blue, almost opaque gray cars, and then this gray wash helmet with a sticker, I assume, at the top with a little bit of color. So my eyes don't really know where to go. They're just all over the place. And then there's this weird cutoff angle from the helmet that just doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know why you couldn't just continue that breathing tube all the way over. I assume you wanted to keep that open for the destroyed buildings, but I think that should have been a plan to begin with. Put the destroyed buildings over the breathing tube, but still let that breathing tube go all the way over. The background is, we gotta be honest with ourselves, it's definitely rushed to the right of the helmet. It just looks like you put it in there to fill some space. I'd love to see if you go back into this thing for another session or two, because it surely needs it. But it does look like it was done in the wasteland, and you know what I always say, get it in the vault. It'll definitely come out a lot cleaner. As a matter of fact, I'm checking my appointments now, and nope, no time for this bullshit. What was this? Done by a f***ing ghoul?
You know your kind ain't welcome here.
Well, maybe not. But I'm gonna make myself welcome.
I'm just poking a bit of fun, Suzanne, but honestly, if you go back into this tattoo, I would love to see an update. Thank you for sharing this with us, and let's see what's next. This next one comes in from Vangelis, or Banksy, or whatever is easier for me. I don't know, Banksy, this is your game, I'm just an NPC. Either way, you sent over this little vault boy with the Nuka-cola cap in the background and a little vault symbol in front. And I gotta say, I really like this tattoo. I love the contrast that you have, especially in the face, how you have this almost gray wash outline separating this dark tan from the light tan. And even though you can't see the entire word Nuka-cola, you can tell that you really took your time with those letters. Unlike another cap we've seen. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of these two big black shadows that are on the back of the torso and arm. It just seems out of place. I think that probably could have been dark blue or something else. But even if it were blue, it just makes him look like a thick boy. It just seems like if you squint your eyes, the light blue torso should be the right size. Maybe it's a shadow, I don't know. doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But I also like the way that you approach this Vault-Tec symbol, how it almost looks like it has a shiny effect. And obviously that's from the inside of the vault, not the outside, because that thing would be dirty. And you know what us vault dwellers say about those outside people? A bunch of ghouls. But either way, this tattoo has some solid lines, some pretty good saturation, and overall good design. It's pretty much just a good, straightforward Fallout tattoo. Thank you so much, Banksy, for sending that over. And maybe being an artist, go for a different name. That one's already taken. Maybe try Leonardo da Vinci or Picasso. All right, this one comes in from Daniel Czar, and Daniel, you sent over a Space Vault Boy, which I don't know why he's in space, but here we are. Now, trust and believe, I do know that there are some alien aspects to Fallout, but we never really see anything in space. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I doubt it. Regardless, this is a really cool tattoo. I love the opaque grays in the background and almost all skin tone Vault Boy. It really sets this tattoo up to have great contrast. And the lines are almost Sharpie marker-like, they are so clean. And the shadow on this Vault Boy does make a bit more sense than the last one we saw. It just comes off more natural. I mean, I will say the design is pretty cool, but I do have some questions. Like, there are a lot of planets and rocks up at the top of this tattoo, where they belong. But as we go through where the Vault Boy is standing, it's obviously on some sort of planetary surface, but then we get into more planets at the bottom. I mean, not the biggest deal, but just a little odd. I mean, I guess this is technically considered a Fallout tattoo because there is a Vault Boy, but if we take away that Vault Boy, it's just really a space tattoo. And there are no vaults in space, it just wouldn't work out. What are you, trying to rewrite history? What do you think you are, a Caesar or Kazar or... I mean, I guess your last name is Czar. Moving on. This last one is sent over from Sam Mitchell, and Sam, you sent over this Brotherhood of Steel armor, and Vault Boy, and Mushroom Cloud, and Vault Cog, and letters, and titties, and, I mean, are you seeing what I'm seeing? I think maybe you've been spending too much time with your cousin, which there's nothing wrong with. Inbreeding is okay. Obviously, that's a talking point in the show. I don't personally feel that way. Anyway.
It's not my fault. I was born in a vault.
And it's not your fault that your parents were or are related.
And it's not my fault. My parents were or are related.
I do think this tattoo is set up a bit better than the other Brotherhood of Steel helmet that we saw. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it definitely has, it keeps my eyes moving in a more pleasing manner. I think it would have been cooler if the, we'll call these rips, were maybe more of an angle to where they're not just so flat. I feel like if they were more of an angle, it would flow with the leg muscles a lot better. The Vault Boy at the bottom, I mean, he's not bad, but he does have nipple fingers. Weird genetic mutation, but certainly not the craziest thing I've seen.
All I know is it was a huge bomb.
The Mushroom Cloud is a nice touch, although it does kind of remind me of Buckingham Fountain. And granted, it is a better design than the other one we saw, but it still is a bit boring for a tattoo. It's such a big tattoo, I think there should be more action or something that's just wow. It just feels really stiff. And Jeff just brought up the fact that the Vault Boy is sitting at the very bottom, below the Mushroom Cloud, and the Brotherhood of Steel on top, which we don't know if that was purposeful or not, but it makes a lot of sense. So I do like it for that aspect, purposeful or not. But either way, not a bad tattoo by any means. Thank you so much, Sam, for sending that over. And I want to thank everybody for participating and sending them over when I asked. That was a really rad-away of you. Sorry, I'm just shoehorning these in. A dick doll. All right, I wasn't really going to share a featured artist at the end of this video because it is a themed video, but I did see a really awesome Fallout tattoo out there in the wasteland that was done by my friend Ben Ochoa, who I'm pretty sure I featured on the show before, so I'm not going to get too far into it. But check out this sick-ass Fallout tattoo that he made, and make sure you head on over to his page, give him a follow, and let him know I sent you. But that's gonna be it. Let me know if you guys like these theme videos, or if there are any other things that we can base an episode around. I'd love to hear it. As always, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you Vault Dwellers, Ghouls, and Raiders next week.